With us now from the University of Ottawa is epidemiologist Raywat Deonandan. Professor, thanks for rejoining us here on 680 CJOB. Anywhere between, 4,400 and 44,000 deaths in Canada associated with the pandemic. Let's concentrate on the low side here if we could. That's if we adhere to all the physical, social distancing measures?
That is correct. So that's why we got to stay inside. That's why we can't go outside yet. These models are all about ranges and presenting different scenarios for planning purposes. And the numbers are meant to be scary, and they may not be that accurate, but it's the scale that we look for and the differences in the categories. So I like to ignore the numbers mostly and look at the trends instead.
I think that a lot of people would see these numbers ranging between, 4,400 and 44,000. And some will be really scared by that. Others will be maybe will shut off and won't connect with that. So how should we take that number? I think we want to take it seriously, but we don't want to be panicked. Am I right?
Exactly. I mean, what you should look at it is as justification for why we are engaging in public health measures. Had we done nothing, this would have been just completely out of control. We would have had close to 1 million deaths, I would say, several 100,000 in any case. But we're doing something, and as a result of doing something, we're keeping the numbers low. We could do more and get the numbers even lower. We can't get them to zero, unfortunately, because this disease does have a case fatality rate, as we call it. A certain percentage are going to die. But our plan is to get that number down as low as possible. If we prevent people from getting infected, then they're not going to die of this disease. And if we prevent enough people from getting infected, then they won't use up our hospital capacity either. That's the plan.
Do you have confidence in these numbers? When you saw the range, did you think, yeah, okay, I buy that?
That's the nature of the game, is that these ranges are huge the further in time you look. Now, my understanding of these numbers is that this is projected for the duration of the pandemic, which can be up to 2 years. So 2 years from now, the range will be huge because the error margin is huge. And it all comes down to the percentage of the population that ends up getting the disease. So they presented a few scenarios with our strong epidemiologic public health investments. We can get the prevalence down to 1% perhaps. In that case, the deaths come down to a few thousand. It sounds, I sound kind of dismissive of that number. It's a high number, but that's a low number, all things considered. But right now, we think the prevalence of this disease in the tested cases is like 3%, which is pretty high. So if we can, again, get the number of new cases down low, then the overall prevalence stays low and the overall deaths stay low. So that's the message here. It's the big end is meant to scare you, but the small end is meant to encourage you.
So then it really does mean that we're social distancing in one form or another, not for weeks, several months, into the summer, perhaps into the fall. Let's just call it like it is.
Yeah, and the message hasn't changed. I mean, I've been asked by so many journalists about my reaction to the press conference, and we've been saying the same thing throughout the entire episode of the epidemic. First, this is the new normal to some extent. Second, social distancing is going to be maintained for months, not necessarily living in our own houses and working from home, but when we emerge onto society, the new normal is going to be something a bit like this, but not entirely like this. Third, there are going to be further waves, probably, smaller bumps of outbreaks. And fourth, the vaccine is probably 2 years away, which is why we're planning for a 2-year journey here. So to answer your question, yes, we're probably going to be in isolation or staying away from people in an extreme sense for a couple of months, I would say. But even when we return to society, there's going to be physical distancing, probably no gatherings more than a certain number, and probably no big sporting events, and probably a restriction on international travel for a while as well. Now, this is going to vary from province to province and region to region because this isn't one epidemic. This is multiple epidemics across the country, and they all look different. which is another reason we should take this national model with a big grain of salt, because it's trying to aggregate data from different parts of the country and tell a cohesive story, which may not be relevant for where you live. So where you live, if it is a national audience, let's say, it may not be as serious. And so the public health measures may in fact be more lax. So again, this is an averaging of the country, but there are going to be differences throughout the nation.
Raywat Deonandan is our house epidemiologist. He's also a professor at the University of Ottawa. Thanks as always for your time. I'm sure we'll talk again.